What's going on, everybody? We'll be live here in just a moment. We'll give people a few minutes to transfer over from, hopefully, from the Visionary Realms stream there. Therek, you ready to go tonight? You got your fresh beverage?
Yeah, I do. I have my fresh beverage. I have my notes, which I'm furiously, as always, trying to organize so I can speak with some sort of consistency.
Yeah, I hear you there.
There's a lot of information there.
Luckily, you're the notes guy. So
I have become the notes guy.
Yeah, you're definitely the notes guy. Green Room's already rocking, as Drac said. I love it. Before we get started, let's give some shout outs. Gulu Gulu, what's up? JJ, Drac in there as well. We got, what was that? Battier Peeler. Oh, Battier Peeler. I have to add like a little. Yeah, do it. You're better than that.
Leave those ones to me. I can do the French. Okay.
All right.
I don't even see his name though. I'm just gonna see what it sounded like.
Battier Peeler. DM Harms. We have Suzo. We have Unix. What's up? Tech Ninja. Lena Land, welcome, and Vesivan 22. What is going on? We're gonna get started here in just a moment. So hey chat, if you haven't grabbed a brew, grab one. If you don't drink a brew, well, we'll drink one for you. So cheers anyway.
I will drink your brew for you.
Ooh, I think I'm on my third already. This is gonna be a good show.
Oh, yeah.
Although it's Mick Ultra, so
make for a great show.
All right, I'll tell you what, we're sitting at 9:55 right now. Let's go ahead in 1 minute. We're gonna start up. Are you ready to do that?
I am ready.
All right, cheers everybody. We'll get started here. What's up, Thorn Deep? Vindi, what is up? Vindini. I said Vivendi. That's like a game studio that used to be around.
Vivendi, oh yeah.
I knew those guys well. Sad that they got eaten up by Activision.
Right.
Same thing that happens to everybody.
The giant space monster that is Activision. They ate up Sierra, my favorite game company of all time.
Yeah. Back in the day, that was my first favorite game studio, for sure. Sierra, yeah. Oh, first favorite, yeah.
So much. Yeah, right. Good old days.
I may have a little coughing tonight, guys, but I've been pretty good. It's pretty much going away, so. Okay, we're about to hit 9:56, at least in my head. So we're going to go now, because I can't wait anymore. I'm sitting here looking at the clock. Everybody ready? We ready for Pantheon Plus U tonight?
Rock and roll, man.
We got a lot to talk about. Let's get going.
Oh, we're live? We're streaming right now? Cool. Awesome, man. Let me just
All right, everybody. Hey, Minus here from Pantheon Plus, and as always for the dev stream recaps, I am joined by my dude, my co-pilot, my partner in crime, the one who keeps me from going on epic rants of horrible proportions that would bring Pantheon Plus down. Therek. What's up, Therek? How are you tonight? Doing
great,
well, I hope.
Great. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It's funny because since we introduce each other every week on the Rewind, and we're like, what are you doing this week? How has life been? Like, it's a little different on these streams that have to do it, right?
Well, those ones I prepare for. I come up with like a witty, funny story ahead of time. This is off the cuff, so
the secret is out.
Yeah, the secret is out.
We just got a subscription from Grizzly and from the great Vindini. So you know what that means, right? Is everybody aware what that means, what we're going to have to do? Here we go, Therek. Here it comes.
Wait a minute, he doesn't catch him anymore. He used to catch him.
Listen, I had to give myself some speed. My speed increased, right? So, first of all, welcome everybody to the show tonight. If you haven't been here before, the show's all about you. And I don't say that like cheesily. It's actually about you. Me and Therek are going to talk a little bit through the dev stream. We're going to do a recap. That will probably take anywhere from, what do you think, Therek? Usually around 20 minutes or so, give or take. Yeah. We'll kind of break some thoughts down, talk about things. And then what we do is, if you're in our Discord right now, you just jump right in. I'm going to hit an ! Discord right now. And that's a link to get into our Discord. But it's not working apparently, which is great. Oh, there it is. Streamlabs is just slow. But you come into our Discord, there is a channel that's open to anybody called the Green Room. We've been doing this now for 47 episodes. 47 episodes. When you're in the Green Room, it basically waves a big flag. It says, hey guys, I want to come live on the air. Let me on the air. Let me share my thoughts. And what we'll do is once me and Therek break down what we thought of the stream tonight, we will then start pulling you in. You guys will be able to speak live on the air, tell us your thoughts. Tonight's topic is obviously the developers live stream. And what I'm going to do is throw a poll up on the screen. We do this every time we do a developer stream, and you guys will see some options there. You can vote for it by hitting !vote space amazing, space good, space okay, space meh, space disappointed. So you guys can vote however you'd like. That'll be up on the screen to see live. But again, !vote space, and then you'll see it right on the screen there. So please cast your votes. Let us know how you felt tonight about the dev stream in general. Okay, so Therek, I'm going to hand it over to you. Before I do that, Therek, we will also tonight be talking, no spoilers, but talking very briefly about tomorrow's video that's going to hit, which is exclusive pre-alpha 5 footage. So we are going to get into that as well tonight. But Therek, let's go ahead and start with your notes, what you took away from the stream. I'll jump in, but I'm going to let you run the show here because you're the note taker. I just got the video, so go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. No, man, this was a crash course in game design, and sort of, as a non-technical person who doesn't know anything about this kind of stuff, man, he did a great job of laying out exactly sort of, what his tools are and what the process is for him. I thought it was really, really interesting, even not sort of understanding, the nuts and the bolts of it. Learning about the tools that he uses, learning sort of the ins and outs of how he puts those tools into use. I thought it really was interesting. One of the things I came across is how important the quality of those tools are, right? Like, they make all the difference. And that's what I got from hearing Tourke speak, is that he's got these tools that he loves to use and is able to use them in a way that makes his job a lot easier and a lot funner, I would imagine, as well.
How many times? So in my career, I've been the manager or leader of people for pretty much the last 15 years, maybe longer. So, a lot of hiring, developing, training for a lot of different companies. And one of the things that makes me great at my job and horrible at relationships is the ability to read people. Like, I really hear their tones. I hear the way they say things. And, I talk about that a lot with Joppa, right? Like, when Joppa talks about something or his facial expression changes slightly while he's talking, there's more there. There's all these little things that people do with their mouth, with their eyes, with their tone of voice that tell you, deep down how they're actually like. Yeah, it tells you a lot more. I got to tell you, yeah,
exactly. If you ask me, like, how's your job going today, and I say, yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Like, you hear, like, just, and hearing somebody who has the tools to do their job, to do the job they want to do, you hear that come across, and I think we saw that.
And yeah, that's exactly where I was heading with it. Like, I think, so me and Therek, we're taking notes, we're talking as the thing's on, we're recording things. The number one thing was, like, I laughed so many times in a really good way, or just kind of like said that was awesome, because Tourke was so excited. Like, he was like so happy. Like, there's a big difference between a developer who's showing you tools and showing you how things are progressing. If they weren't happy or excited about where it's heading, there would be a much different tone. But Tourke was like engulfed by, like, let me show you what we did, and like, here it comes, and like, like his little jokes where it made himself laugh. Like, those are really good signs that sometimes people don't pick up on, but it's awesome. So yeah. And Veshivan just said, when we cut back to him, he's just smiling the whole time. Like, he's just so happy, like, about this stuff. So I love it. Yeah. But I just wanted to say that as you're going through your notes here, because I think it's important.
Yeah. So, but you said it's a good sign. It's a good sign for the game, right? We always want to know how things are going. What's the state of the game? It's a good sign when your guy is happy. Your artist is happy, I guess. One of the quotes that he said, I thought I wrote down because I think it's really important, is he's working with efficiency with fidelity, right? He says the tools allow him to be efficient with fidelity. I think that's a really cool way of putting it, because not as an artist, but as just somebody who you're always looking to do your craft the best you can, and if you can work efficiently with fidelity, that's exciting for an actor.
I do want to, Salacious said, the procedural generation is nice, but also has me a bit sad that we may not have the personal touch that games like EverQuest had when it came to zone design. Don't worry about that. He did talk about that. It's the procedural design is step one. The polishing and customizations when they go in and they do that little bit of stuff, right? Like they're not just going to procedurally generate and that's it. So don't worry. There still will be a lot of that personal
like
taste.
Handcrafted.
There's a lot of handcrafting. Don't worry about that. Just because they're doing the base level procedurally does not mean that you won't have this handcrafting and even the procedural generation. Therek, quote me if I'm wrong, but a lot of what he was showing, it's not just click a button and be done. There's a ton that goes into defining how they design it so that it makes and matches like the different areas and stuff, right?
Yeah, I wrote down procedural generation as well. It's a buzzword that I hear a lot of times, and it's not something I'm a fan of generally. But it's in a different context. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like roguelike games that are procedurally generated, where it's just doing it on the fly and there's no handcrafted sort of level design. That's not what he was talking about. As I realized as he continued talking, was that it was more about the initial design phase, using that as a tool in the initial design, but then iterating upon that to create a handcrafted piece or a handcrafted area, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the level of granularity that his tools appeared to give him. Really very small details. And I don't know if this happens to you or if you have the same effect from this, but every time you see the textures now, all I think is that's climbable. Like everything looks climbable to me. All these textures, the old textures, I see them, and he showed some of the old art assets, which I think was a great idea too, because you can compare that to what the new stuff looks like, right? And I've said before that I thought the old stuff looked pretty good, but then I compare it to the new stuff, and I'm like, it's night and day, and it looks so much more.
It's more Pantheon.
Yes,
the assets are. Did you play Reign of Darkness when we got into that for a little bit? Did we convince you to get that? So when we were kind of jumping around and doing the Pantheon plus play nights, game streaming nights, we played a lot of Reign of Darkness, and the game was great. Small team, little fun game, like 3-4 dungeons. It wasn't a huge game, but it was all art assets, right? And you could tell. And it made the game. And I don't say this, please. I think Reign of Darkness was a really cool project. Like I enjoyed it a lot. So this is not negative, but it felt generic because the assets were generic. You know what I mean? There wasn't a set style to the game. Yeah, it was dark. But the difference is when Pantheon, designs these things individually, we're now seeing a style. And we've talked about graphics so much on the Rewind on Pantheon plus U. That style is important to making the game feel connected. And I think that that shows a big deal when he's showing this stuff. That's what it does. Yeah, no, I agree. I liked the mountain that had the scar superimposed on it. That was pretty cool, man. And just to think about something like that, you talk about Pantheon's character and it looked like Pantheon. That's what I'm talking about, right? Like being able to put your own unique creations. I mean, and that's probably pretty basic stuff. I mean, again, I'm not qualified in any way to talk about as a technical artist, it's not my thing, but I know how it feels when I play it in a game with something like that, and it feels great, right? So I'm excited. I was excited to see that. What I think the biggest takeaway from it is one of them at least is that he talked about the time it takes. He's showing it right now. That if you look at the screen right now, he's actually doing it like this, not planned. He was just showing his mouse. You're gonna say 30 minutes, right?
That pass, right? Exactly.
30 minutes.
Black Rose Keep took a month. Avener's Pass took a month. I think he said later on. He said they're zooming, and you realize that all the time that they're spending on the fundamentals and the underlying mechanics of the game, that's the hard work. That's the stuff that takes. And again, I'm not a designer. I don't know these things.
So here's what's important. Let's take a pause here and talk about the elephant in the room and what the major discussion's been recently is, okay, so Pantheon has been developing for X amount of years. They come out with a newsletter. They kind of clarify what's been going on. There's this Kyle Olsen back in April started to really rebuild the game, right? So everyone's like, well, why are they rebuilding? Well, they just showed in 30 minutes, they were able to take this zone where, and I thought, if you didn't see the stream, one of the most impactful parts for me, Therek, was when they overlaid Avenger's Pass over top Fairtown. It was small. Yeah. It was, and then he said, well, so you have the human city right here, and then right here's the orc fortress. Like, there's no room in between. It's just like this, okay, here's this area, here's this area, here's this area, and we laid them all next to each other and connected them, but there's no world in between it. It's just get to point A, get to point B, get to point C. And what he's showing in that pass that took him a half hour to do is that he literally took these two areas that should feel and look different climates, different or like beings living there, right? Yeah, and he built this huge middle section that made the zone feel more alive.
It's a very the modular nature of it, right? The modular world building that this is that they're trying to do, or the way that they're doing it now. Man, that opens up so many options. It opens up so many ways to fix things like that, right?
Yeah.
They said they had issues with the placement of Hangor, so they modified it. They talked about before in a previous stream, they've talked about how Black Rose Keep didn't make sense where it was, so they changed it, right? And they show those blocks. It looks so it looks so simple when you see it on the screen, but it's like you don't think about it from a world building standpoint necessarily like that. He also mentioned, what you were saying, like the feedback from PA4, talking about how it felt too much like a Disney theme park, right? Everything was just one to one to one to one, and they needed that connective tissue.
I'm going to pause you for a second, because Zinix, for those of you that don't know Zinix VG, he's been working on the Vanguard emulator for a long time. Incredible human being. Has given me more time than I could ask of anybody to just talk and hear about what he's doing in this, how he's building this world, and about some of the problems, Vanguard had. And it's awesome because he just said, one of the things about the code before is that the code was designed so that everything was so that if you changed one thing, you had a chance of breaking two others. And that's similar in other games. They cause a lot of development issues. Now imagine, people say, okay, well, they took this step back, they had to rebuild, but it's a step back to get massively forward. Like they just took an area. And so what people loved about Vanguard, if I'm not mistaken, Therek, is the world was huge. Yep. Like when you were running around, it was massive. People want that feeling of that huge world again. And to be able to say, we built this whole area and it looks awesome, but we need more space. Let's move everything out and build a section in between. It's awesome. Like what that's going to do for us as gamers and as Pantheon fans, explorers, it changes the game completely. It goes from quest hubs, even though there's no quest, but like that quest hub feel. That's kind of like how WoW's built. This is a section, this is a section, this is a section, and that's it. Yeah. There's going to be this world in between that's worth exploring, and I'm excited. Sorry, I keep getting crazy about it.
No, that's great. Exactly right. I mean, sometimes that's where you find the most interesting stuff is in the space between, right? It's not always the centerpieces. It's not always the featured pieces. It's the in-betweens where you really, sometimes you have the best. Yeah. You find those little things that make it all worth your time. Yeah. One of the other notes I had, and I think this is a really neat point because he zoomed in. He went from world design to zoom into talking about the minute design on the rock shards, the remnant shards.
So we're looking at right now. Right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's on the screen right now. So, and what I had a realization is that being with the world design being so efficient and such a relatively quick procedure, it gives him time to really dig into these small details. And I think that's where a lot of that's where the artistic expression comes out. He talked about working from Jared's art, concept art, and translating that into actual game pieces. And I think that's really interesting. And I think that there was like however many streams ago, remember when they showed the leaves, right, and the fronds, and that was the running joke for a while. Like,
where's Vandrad?
Yeah, that's right. Where's Vandrad?
That's his favorite thing, leaves and fronds.
Leaves and fronds, man. But it's still the same, right? It's like it's rocks and shards, and that's great because you realize those little details are what make a big difference. And if they spend more time on the little details, it's because they have the time that's given to them from the grander design aspect of things. I think that's a really interesting sort of look at it. What did you think when you were seeing this?
Just thinking about how these things will play in and how they look like, and like when he took all of them and like turned them, and the moss would recreate from the sunlight to where it should be. Like, I think I joked with you, like, I can't imagine the processing power that just took to take like all those and spin them and have all those art textures shift. Like, our computer would have probably caught fire. But it was just really cool to see. And like, it's really cool that these assets are going to build the world up for us and we won't even realize it. There's all games are built in a way like this, right? This is definitely efficient, but at the same time, like, you don't appreciate these things because you don't see this side of the development. In 99% of games, you don't get to see this. Like, when he was showing this part right here and he zoomed out and started searching the world, I think, like, at least for me, I was like, man, this place is huge, right? Like, zooming out and looking around. But it was funny because he had like this art asset area. And I'm like, man, this is really cool. It's just, it's different, right? Like, it's the side of being part of Pantheon and the community and the development that's neat. I think sometimes people get frustrated because we want to play. And Therek, is it safe to say me and you want to play Pantheon like just as much as anybody else? Maybe
kind of on the fence about it.
But like, being part of this, like when we're playing, a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever we end up playing, remembering this is something that's going to be a really cool story. It's going to be really cool to be a part of this. And like, that's why I try to tell people, like, enjoy where we are. We all want to play. And if we could all play tomorrow, we'd all definitely do it. But like, these are going to be awesome stories in the future that you're going to be able to share with new Pantheon fans. It like is just, I don't know. Yeah. It's an awesome thing.
No, and if you learn something, you're better off for it. Like I said at the beginning, I learned a lot. I learned a lot tonight, just from an overall 10,000 foot view. Like what his job is and what his day to day.
I love Jimmy. I will openly say, and I don't think he'll mind this, that I've had a lot of like side conversations with Jimmy about life, just about things. And I have always just the best vibe from Jimmy. Like, he's such a great guy. And it was really cool to see him on stream, like kind of doing his thing, I guess as you say. So what else
definitely.
did you have?
You know what? Those are the main points that I got. Yeah, no, and we talked about it on the last week's Rewind. We talked about how important art style is. And I think this was a good demonstration of what good art style looks like, at least for me, because it's subjective. Not everybody might feel that way, but this art style, and he had some very nice artwork in the background there, so I know his influences are on point. So that old EverQuest painting, and there was a Larry Elmore picture in the background.
Did you see his black stormtrooper?
Of course, yeah, that's probably black stormtrooper. Pretty sweet, man.
To say Tourke like Star Wars would be an understatement. So.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. So those are the main points I had. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, man. I think you hit a lot of the notes. Yeah, you hit a lot of the notes really well. Totally worth watching. I'll say this: sometimes the high level speak, the people will be like, I'm not super into it, and I totally understand it. And there were definitely moments of high level speak. But I thought that he did a good job of when he was high level speaking, like he was showing something. So it was easier to relate the high level speak because you literally saw it, I want to say physically, but graphically, I guess is the way to say it. So the accompaniment of visuals makes it, in my opinion, like even though it's high level, it helps you kind of understand some of that high level speak. So if you haven't caught the whole stream, please go check it out. Like, Jimmy's awesome. Like, support this guy. Like, this is what I love about Pantheon and their team, right? In VR, like, there are some amazing characters. Look at Ronick freaking wearing a helmet on stream. Totally making a goof out of himself, but he does it and he doesn't care because it's fun, But these guys are fun to support for me. Like, they're good people, and like Jimmy's another one, and he's just awesome. So
it's funny, the high level speak, like you say. I think that too. But then I was watching chat. It's like people know what he's talking about, man. Like we
there's a lot of people smarter than us.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people smarter than us. People know this in this community. People know the tech talk, and I think it's a good idea to do that kind of high level speak once in a while. Not all the time, but once in a while. Maybe mix in some lore streams once in a while. But go back to the high level speak because the community appreciates that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, what do you think? About 18 minutes, not too bad. Do you want to start? So everyone knows we are at the end of this video or end of this show. We will jump into a little bit of discussion about what to expect tomorrow, noon Eastern. We're gonna have probably the video that Therek, would you agree, we're probably more excited to release than anything we've ever released?
I think so.
Hands down.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the most well-received thing.
I hope so. I'm so nervous.
Up to this point, it's
we're hyping it, and it's really cool. It's something everybody's wanted to see. I've watched it like 15 times. Like, I really hope people like this. So I'm really excited for that tomorrow. I will be there live in the chat with you guys for the premiere on YouTube, because I am not allowed to go to work because my daughter is sick. So I'll be there to support and check out and chat. But we'll get into that more a little bit towards the end. So let's go ahead and jump into the green room. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. Okay, so how many deaths? I probably died about 4 times. We had two wipes. I got jumped on the way to the cave that I cut out. I'd say I probably died about 4 times, but I'm a sneaky rogue, so I didn't die as much as others. Let's put it that way. And there is a great part of the video where you're going to get to see Therek being a goofball, and it's awesome, and I love
exactly what I was thinking of. That was exactly the part I was thinking of. So good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and I don't know what order people jumped in, so please, I apologize if you've been waiting longer than somebody else. We are going to jump to the green room now. If you're not in the green room, you have plenty of time. Jump in there. We'll pull you in for your comments. Let us know what you thought about the stream tonight. So what we're going to do is jump in first. Let's go with Idiotech. So Idiotech, you have your mic muted. Go ahead and unmute your mic to show me you can hear us. Make sure to mute the stream on Twitch, and we'll pull you into chat. And there he is, so I'm going to pull him in now. Idiotech, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing well, man. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great. Good to hear you.
I'm. It's funny. You've been a long time listener, supporter of the show. I finally am getting your name right, so we're moving along.
Listen, we're all evolving. Pantheon, us.
Yeah, we're in development.
Yeah, we're all in development, right?
We're all pre-alpha. Well, I'm definitely in pre-alpha, so minus is pre-alpha phase.
Concept stages.
So Idiotech, what'd you think, man? Like, what'd you think of the stream? What'd you think of Jimmy? What do you think of what you saw? What stood out for you?
It's interesting. I've seen his name, like, even in here right now under the Visionary Realms team. I know a lot of the people on the team here, but I didn't realize the scope of his job. So for me, even someone who's been following this game for like 3-4 years, that I'm still learning things about the team. But I'll have to say, okay, I'll say this. And I was thinking of this while the stream was going on and while he was using this tool. I don't know anything necessarily about developing a game, but I do know things about diving into programs, doing music. I know what it feels like to get new tools, new plugins, and just feel ecstatic. You're like, whoa, like I can do all this with just this one plugin. I don't need to add reverb and this and that. So I could I could feel the excitement that he had. But I went to school for environmental science. I went to school. I took a lot of geomorphology classes, a lot of calculus that went in with that. And seeing him use those tools and seeing him be able to say, okay, we're laying down mesh, it seems like he's deploying rules like within the code that create like an environment that's like based on an expectation. Like he said, where there's sheer cliffs, that's where there will be vines. Something again that you would expect, you would probably write into the game. And I find that to be just as cool as he's saying it. There would be trees here, so let's lay it there. And after it does that all for him, he can then go back and alter it to fit the story of the zone or the way they want you to traverse the zone. So that made me excited. I was like, you know what? Seeing this environmental density, seeing that it makes sense. I had my teachers bring me out to the woods, and I had a geomorphology teacher just bring us out, and we went out to this one area, and there was a small waterfall, and he said, okay, explain to us how this became, a waterfall. And, we're all like 20, and we're like, I don't know, it's erosion.
Erosion.
And then he was such a great teacher. He would lay down this story of how the land would, deposit things here, glaciers, and it all made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw him doing this with this mesh, and I forgot what it's called right now, I can't think, but
I know what you're saying.
When I saw him doing that, I was like, this is the type of stuff that just makes sense. It's worldly because it makes sense to the environment, and I think it's going to be perfect for Pantheon.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said right at the beginning, you talked about getting new tools for your craft, which is music, right? That feeling of empowerment, I think, is a good way of describing it, right? When you finally, you've been working with a piece of technology for a while, or a certain tool for a while, and you've always wanted that one little extra functionality, or maybe you thought, I wish it did this. And then when you get that, I think that's sort of what you heard, what him saying a lot of is, I have these tools that do these things that that make, like you said, with the geomorphology, make a lot of sense, and they work the way they should. Because I've, just in my experience working with whatever, software of various types, you always think, if it would just make sense if it did this, right? It sounds like you've got
every tool ever, any program I've ever used. Why doesn't it just do this?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it is empowering, and I think even from his standpoint, he seems extremely like veteran. I don't know.
Look at him smiling too, like on screen right now. They're just talking and taking questions, and he's just smiling.
He seems, and that was the cool thing too. It didn't seem like the program was out of his reach, but it seemed like he was amazed at what he could do. It was like, just like you're saying, Therek, it'd be cool if it did this. Well, it kind of feels like he was using it, and he's like, oh, it'd be cool if it does do this.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's like that moment, joyous moment.
And he does say one little thing. I'll just bring like this one last thing. He said something about how, he's laying down the different, he does the gray box and he lays down the maps. And I want to go back and hear what he said, but he said something about it allowed him to develop the sound layer. I think we talked about it on
when he was talking about the water and being able to put the water down and then have the sound layer on it. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's very key to a game. I dabbled trying to play EverQuest. I was telling him down in the green room I'm having trouble trying to go play EverQuest. But even in that game from 1999, I'm like, oh man, I can hear this going on. And knowing what they could do now with that, knowing how the perception system could probably play into what we're hearing and all that, I don't know. I can rant forever. I'm excited. I love this stream. I love them diving deep into specific things, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see where what they said in that letter, them getting further funding, not because they need it, but because it would make the game go quicker. If they had 4 more Jimmys, maybe not even 4, even 1 more Jimmy, someone that has that skill to build out the world, and seeing how fast he was doing zones, a month per full zone or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful and I'm excited.
Let's do a fundraiser for a cloning machine so that they can just clone him.
Right?
Jimmy,
Listen,
Jimmy Deuce.
Maybe the Impossible Burger guys. No way.
The Impossible Burger guys. That's awesome, man. No, I totally hear you, and I feel your excitement as well. That's when you start layering on those other things, like you mentioned the perception system, and you start layering in sound design. And then you layer in, I mentioned climbing on some of those surfaces, with that topology, right? And how cool, right? How cool.
I always forget that too. For some reason, I know it's a core part of the game, but I always look at the zones. I'm like, oh man, oh wait, we can climb.
Yeah, right.
So
it's awesome.
And I'm also excited for tomorrow, obviously. So I have a Zoom meeting that I'm supposed to be doing for orientation, and it's at 12:30, and I might have to just multitask.
Yeah, at least have it on mute in the background. You don't need to hear our silly voices, but you can see what we're doing.
It is kind of fun to listen to us, though. If I'm going to be honest, it is pretty fun.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Well, Idiot Tech, thanks, man. I appreciate it, buddy. And thanks for always being here to support us, man. I love, what's funny is we talked at the beginning of the video about listening to Jimmy and him smiling and laughing and his excitement. You have that right now. And it's so cool when somebody watches a developer stream for Pantheon and then comes on our show and just has this general giddiness to like, that was fun, right? Like, because it's how I am. You guys see me on stream. There's very few times we've had a stream and I come on and I'm like, this was not a good stream. Right? Like,
and I love this stream, you guys, because and the two of you together, I love that you can be critical and happy at the same time. You can be both ends of the spectrum and just enjoy the journey. And that's why I'm here too, man. I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome, man. I love to hear you say that.
Thank
Drop.
you.
Hey, you got your song on Spotify there, right?
Oh,
Put a link in the chat for your song on Spotify.
Please, guys. Yeah. If we don't ask anything of you guys, we don't even ask you guys to subscribe. Like, I don't think we ever in our videos like, please subscribe. Like, we barely ever do that. So the one thing we'll ask you, because it's community focused, is Idiotech's going to throw a link. He has a new song out that he put out. It's on Spotify. He's working on his album. It's really cool. If you guys can go and just check it out. Yeah, please go check it out. Give it a thumbs up. Rate it however they do it now on Spotify now. It seems like it changes all the time, but go in there and check it out. It's absolutely free. If you have Spotify, check it out. Throw that link in there so people can check it out. That's awesome. So
definitely.
Very, very
it's
cool.
on everything too, so we don't have to go to the monopoly.
Oh yes, Spotify or iTunes or whatever. Yep.
Yeah. But
Awesome.
thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
hope
man.
to hear from you guys soon. Hope to be on here next week.
Awesome, man. Take it easy.
Don't
Take
be a
care.
stranger, dude.
See ya.
That's awesome. Good bring up there. I'm happy you brought that up. Because I listened to that. It was cool. It's really cool.
I did
to
too.
hear
Yeah,
that.
it was really cool. It's a great song, and I don't just say that.
You know what's funny with the monopoly? I won't get into this in detail, but like the monopoly of Spotify, like I see people joking and laughing about that. They make like zero money. Like they take a loss every year. I don't know I don't understand how they're a business. And then they just gave Rogan?
Yeah, they got
money?
Rogan on there now.
Must be a weird way that they do their money. Like
I just got a premium account not that long ago because my son really wanted one. Because I was just listening to the free version. Then he's like, "No, we need a premium account." So I finally splurged for a premium account. So I do.
Well,
enjoy
you can also find the rewind on there, Therek.
Really, you don't say.
Yeah, there's this podcast. It's no. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna go to Desrin, which is DM Harms. Guys, I'm really sorry about my voice. I'm so much better than I was. But we're going to go to DM Harms. If you want to unmute your microphone and your headphones, and then we'll pull you right down. Just make sure to mute the stream so you don't get double. All right, there he is. I'm bringing him in now. DM Harms, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, doing good. So glad I could make it this week.
Yes, very happy to have you. What'd you think of the stream? What was your takeaways?
Dude, this was like the best stream I could have just walked in on. I mean, like I mean, 2020 has been like kind of nuts, but one positive is that it has kind of opened the door for me to kind of pursue programming and Unity game development. And so following Pantheon is like especially special for me. And so when they do these deep dives, it's 100% pleasure.
Yeah, I saw you in chat during the stream. You were nerding out big time.
I was freaking out. Yeah, I was like, dude, did he just say Houdini? I've been like watching like so many. I mean, I follow other open development like projects, and just Houdini pops up constantly now. And he dropped that, and I'm like, oh, here we go, here we go.
That's fantastic. So it was a lot of the tools that he was talking about beyond Houdini and all the other ones. Those must have like resonated with you. What did you think of all the other tools he listed?
I mean, he really just kind of listed like the typical AAA design, like these things are what everyone uses, and I would expect them to, for sure. But he actually I was just throwing stuff out there, and he recognized like other tools that other studios use. Why they haven't used those tools, like I can tell that they definitely have like reached the tendrils out and been like, okay, what works for us, and like what can we use to make our project better and more efficient. And I feel like they really have searched and really found some stuff that works best. That's just really cool that they're actually actively looking for that stuff instead of, like they've alluded to in the past of kind of just like, we're just going to hard code everything and deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, and someone said in chat, I don't know if it was you, but they were talking. Oh, it was Zinix actually, and we kind of highlighted that already. But yeah, like just being able to move something and not break the game is nice. Like that's so big.
It really is, and like the more they invest in tools like this, like the better that can be. You know, having less technical people be able to actually create the game without breaking it is great, because they can hire people that don't have these like skill sets like across the board. Like you can have someone that just is like a great environment artist, like they just make environment art. They don't have to also have like a pretty high degree of coding knowledge, or like they just do what they're good at, and it's efficient. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. And again, like I have no professional experience in this area at all, but I would think the more modern tools you're using, the easier it is to find people, right? Like Ben
totally,
that they're hiring a technical artist, they're going to be at least. If you're looking for somebody who's skilled in like an ancient way, an ancient tool, or an ancient hard coding technique, you're gonna have a hard time finding people, I would imagine.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that actually, because one thing I noticed about this stream, and I look for these stupid things, but they're using actually the latest version or the latest long-term support version of Unity right now, which in the past streams I've noticed they use like especially a year ago, like if they streamed anything with the Unity editor, like you'd see they're using like a 3-year-old version or something like that. And it kind of like was concerning me for a while, because Unity has progressed a lot, like especially in the last few years. Like it has become like a very viable tool. Even I would say AAA games are probably going to start popping up in Unity. And so seeing them use like literally the most current, like it's the same build that I use. And that is just so encouraging, because it means like, and he also mentioned he's using the latest version of Houdini, so like they are like not tied to some old version that they knew 10 years ago. And you're right, that is so encouraging.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because they've talked a lot about in the past about the kind of relationship that they have with the Unity devs, right? They have a very close relationship. They've said about how they're sort of working with those devs from the engine standpoint to stay up to date and stay using the most current version. That's not the right word, but like the best aspects of their engine to the most of their ability, right? And doing things that no other studio has done with Unity, right? There's lots of past streams about that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember, I can't remember his name, but he did some shader LOD kind of improvements.
I think it was Bruno.
It was Bruno, you're right. And that has kind of like, I love that they actually are participating in the development of Unity as well. It's good to show that like, hey, they're not just like some like little like hobbyist folks, like they actually know what they're doing enough to be making tools. Yeah,
talking to a lot of different developers since I've started doing this, because we have actually been able to talk to quite a few developers even outside of VR, and the thing that comes up all the time is tools. Like everything is tools. Like you don't design a game unless you've designed some amazing tools to streamline your game creation. Because if you're doing it without the tools, it's a slog. And when you create these tools and you create these abilities to be able to manufacture your world or input abilities, all that kind of stuff, it's a big deal. And I know that there's some developers out there that have made tools that are so good that like they end up just selling their tools, like, and that ends up making them. So it's very interesting. The game development has evolved a ton. From what I think a lot of people know.
I mean, if you wanted to make like an MMO with just like base Unity, like good freaking luck. Like there's no way. Like, and it's the same for like pretty much any engine. Like MMO is not like built into any engine that I know of. And so like it's going to be tool creation. And when they're talking about networking in the recent past, they're basically saying like, hey, we have to use this other tool. Like it's just a combination of all these different like developers that happen to be making this specific facet of what an MMO is, and then combining that collectively kind of making, okay, well, this suite of tools, like he probably listed what, like 10 different tools just for like art creation.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is. Like you have to have the exact right tool for the job if you're going to be making a game at like scale, and especially an MMO. It's industry standard like kind of stuff, but it's just encouraging to really see that play out in them. And like I don't even there's a few people in chat talking about like how long development's gone on and stuff, and that they're kind of just getting to this point, but like there's a little bit of like validity to that. It has been a long time, but there are older projects, and this is also just stuff you just don't see. Like they had a certain amount of funding and now they have more funding, and if they weren't doing this, I would be concerned, because it's an MMO. It's going to last a long time. I mean, like my baby is still going like a MMO that I like started with, and so like they have to make this stuff able to last. And I don't care that they just started doing this 2 years ago or whatever.
It's
like
still a
I
huge
really
step
don't
forward. Yeah,
they're doing it. Like that's all that matters.
And it's interesting that you brought up like the money side of it, right? Because you brought up a couple things I just wanted to compound on. So, the funds that they've gotten, and bear with me here, they started hard coding because of the funds they had. As they've gained more funds, they've upgraded their tools, they've upgraded their resources, and, no offense to anybody who was here who's not here anymore, they've upgraded their team, right? Fair enough to say. And for anyone who's worried about like, well, where's this money going? Look at all these tools you're saying that this game didn't have before. Custom assets, these different programs, like you were saying, the newest versions, doing all this different stuff. This is all use of funds. Now, the other part of it is everybody recently, because Ben came out with the newsletter and said, we definitely need more money to make this happen quicker, which they've been saying. It was just very bluntly said. But now, what did they say tonight? Hey, we're looking to hire on a technical developer. Well, last I checked, guys, you don't hire someone on unless you have the money to do it, which means that like, yes, they want to be able to get a really big investor, right? Everybody wants to get a big investor. If they just got like someone to come in and say, hey, we're giving you $1 million. Yay. Right. Like, awesome. But at the same time, like even with what this community is supporting them with pledges and the angel investors, they're at a stage where they're able to bring a technical artist on. That is a very positive thing. Don't overlook that when you're worried about where Pantheon's funds are, or do they have enough money? Like, we're seeing upgraded tools, we're seeing upgraded progress, we're seeing upgraded programming with better server load, better CPU usage. We're now hearing about them looking to bring somebody on. These are all really positive signs to that financial side that some people get worried about. And trust me, I understand if you're worried about it. Don't mix any of my words here, but there is visual progress of money being spent well and money to spend. And that's, if there's money being spent well and there's money to spend, we're in good shape. So like, yay. Right. So,
there are definitely like other projects out there with like probably way more funding that are less far along. Like even projects that aren't publicly funded, that are behind closed doors, like you might not even see a release of that are 4 years into development that get canned. Like this is not a problem. I mean, they've had a long time, but they've had to work up to where they are now because of this open, like publicly funded kind of a thing. It's just the nature of these things. And I think the more Kickstarter video games we have, the more people will just get used to this. It's like, hey, it's Kickstarter. Like, it means they're going to start small. It means they're going to have to redo stuff. People will acclimate over time, and this will become normal. But for now, it's kind of a new thing. And this is a smaller, like not a small project, but a more niche audience. And so
and also, money is important. Don't get me wrong, guys. If you want to pledge to help the game develop, not to get something cool, and you can afford it, do it. Me and Therek will never. Therek, we have made the vow that we will never tell people how to spend their money. We will never tell people to pledge beyond their means. We will never tell people anything except for if they say, Minus, was it worth it? I'll say yes. And that's it. I'm not here to pander. I'm here to say, if you have the money, if you want to support the game, donate. If you can be without it. If you can't, then just support it. Like being in the chat here, going to a forum, telling your friend about it, sharing a video. And it doesn't have to be a Pantheon Plus video. It could be a Nathan video, a Basgrim video. Just being in the community is value. So if you're someone who can't donate, don't feel bad. Like, you're helping more than you know. But if you can, do it. I mean, it's going to help. And the biggest thing I'll say too is, like, don't be turned away by the people out there like, oh, well, $50 doesn't mean it. Guys, it's not about the individual. It's about, as a collective, what we can do to help develop, right? Like, that's important to me. And I'm not trying to go on this tirade of give Pantheon a bunch of money. This is just me being me. Like, this is what I believe in. I donated because I believe in the game, not because I want anything out of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm excited to be part of testing. It's super fun. But, like, it's because I believe in it. Therek, how many times have we said, like, would we be maniacs to do what we do for this, with the time we spend, with as much as we drive each other crazy, with deadlines we get stressed about every week of our lives, if I'm BSing you guys and just say, oh, support it's a hardcore belief for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. Yeah, well said. I'm not even gonna add anything. It's
DM Harms, awesome, man. Harms, I love that you came on. Great conversation, great excitement. Thank you for coming on the show today, man. I really appreciate it.
Love it, man. Glad I could make it.
Awesome. Take it easy, man.
Talk to you later.
All right, next, let's go ahead and bring in Tech Ninja. Tech Ninja, if you're ready, I'm going to give you a couple seconds here before we go. And then we'll bring you in. So I'm going to bring him in now. What's up, Tech?
Hey, dude. How you doing, man?
Hey, Tech. What's going on?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Excited for tomorrow. I'm so excited for tomorrow.
Holy mackerel. Yeah, it's been quite it'll be quite the 48 hours when we're all done with it. That's basically the bottom line.
I hope so. I really hope people don't watch it tomorrow like, minus this sucked. Dude. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?
Well, we're riding that crest of the wave, right? So
that's the part I'm looking forward to the most. Are you kidding me?
Dude,
I think I was pretty awesome at times, though. I think Therek, I think my cred on some of the crazy stuff I pulled off. I think so.
I'm gonna let Tech be the judge of that because he has an objective view on this.
Wait, hold on. Is this shirt good? Right now?
Yeah, right. Just read the shirt.
Walk the tightrope. Keep walking the tightrope. How many minutes do we have? All right. So my favorite thing that I learned tonight, to be 100% honest with you, and I played Ark for 1,000 hours plus, and the favorite thing I learned tonight is that Ark used default Unity assets. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy Tourke, for letting me know that Ark made a fantastic procedural game. They didn't do those things at all. They just took the things that were available to them and they created a good game. So what we're witnessing with Pantheon is, okay, so let's actually use the tools, not just regurgitate what the tools have moving forward, right? So they're able to learn from all the mistakes that other current MMOs have. It was so inspiring to me. And at like 3/4 of the way through the stream, I think you mentioned it when you were talking with DM. By the way, like nothing I'm going to say is going to compare to what DM said earlier. He has an absolute intuitive knowledge of the way that games like this are produced, and I'm just an observer in it. I'm just like, did you see the way the shadow works?
That's how I feel too. That's how I've taken. That's the perspective I've come from, man. So I'm ready
about that.
Yeah, dude. And but by 3/4 of the way through, you mentioned it, Jimmy focused out, dude. And it's like,
yeah.
Oh, like that's what a bridge my little character's gonna look like. Okay, and that's over all right, and that's the Ark over.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm like, wow, it's all right. Keyword again, immersive. It's gonna put me into that foundational period of where I'm looking at what they're doing and how they're making it through. And I don't know if you caught at that same time frame, he said that, all right, this is the way that Avengers Pass is going to look, and this is the way that some pieces are going to look here on left and right of the river valley, and I carve out over there, but we won't get into that right now. Oh, okay. So that's where all the next part of the stream came in, and he's taking those caves that he's making, and then he's carving out a particular area. It's, I'm a peon when it comes to the technical aspect of how things work. I'm a facilitator. I'm not a doer when it comes to things. Like, I help make things happen. I definitely don't do the grunt work that needs to get done to get these fantastic things accomplished. So when you see it in real time, when you see other individuals get to talk to each other about it and answer 2 questions, like, I'm the type of guy that's like, okay, I'll get you the laptop you need to make sure the thing happens that you're saying you're going to do. I'm not the guy who helps make, as we're watching in the background, the fantastic piece of art and put it upon the background and make sure that the shadows work and all that jazz. It's just a wonderful thing to be a part of. And I'm so glad that tonight we were able to experience that. It's been, it's wonderful. Go ahead.
I think that's a great point. Like it's the whole idea of assembling a good team, right? Comes into focus when you see somebody, what they're able to show off what they do and show off with the love that they have for it. You realize that, putting together people in the right positions, it's not automatic. It doesn't happen automatically, right? Like, we've all been in situations where we've had to assemble a team in one capacity or another. And if you don't have the right people in the right position, it doesn't go well. So it sort of speaks to, like you said, you're a facilitator. I can get behind that, right? Like I like to think of myself as somebody who, with my work, I put people in positions to succeed most of the time. I give them tasks or put them in areas that I know that they can flourish in, right? So I think we saw that. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, it's a huge, well-balanced equation. It's incredible. Like throwing on a helmet midstream, and that's go ahead.
Let's add to that for a second, and I'm gonna try to. It's hard, but I'm gonna try to step out of like me and the amount of time I spend in this for a second. I would think that the majority of Pantheon fans can name 4-5 developers that really excite them that are part of this team. And then I would challenge you to do that for most games you play. And that's pretty interesting to me. And maybe I'm overshooting it 4 to 5.
No, it's almost like a sports team, dude. Like, I know the players on the team that I'm supporting.
That's a great analogy.
Can we get a VR jersey?
All get behind that.
Can we please get a VR jersey with Ronik's name on the back? Can we get a Ronik jersey? I want a Ronik jersey. That's got to happen. Someone has to design a VR jersey, and I'm going to get a Ronik one. I might get a Jimmy one. I'm jealous of his hair. Let's be honest.
All right. I'll tap out at this point, but I just want to know, as I'm transitioning, what was your guys' favorite part of the stream, man? All right. Thank you for having me on, dude.
Thanks,
Take care.
Take care.
Great to talk to you always, man. I don't know. My favorite part of the stream, it's I don't know, hard to pinpoint. Again, the climbable surfaces, like we're looking at right now on the screen. Whenever I see those climbable surfaces, man, I get my climb on. I want to find some climbing gear, and I want to hit it, and see how far I can get up. So I don't know. That's a pretty simple thing to say about what a big stream this was, but again, not being a technical person, that's what I'm going to gravitate to.
I would say for me, it was when Jimmy went through, and like we talked about before, but he dragged AVP on top of Fairthale and like it was like, yeah, this is how big it is. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, the orcs are too close to the human city, and 30 minutes of work just made the world so much bigger. 30 minutes, guys. Like, mind blown. Like, think of how big this world can be. Like, they can design these things and be like, okay, let's move them out and spread it out. That's like the size of Pantheon's individual zones in the world is going to be a key to us enjoying this game. And to watch in 30 minutes that they had a playable space to make the world feel more alive is just
pretty
awesome.
Pretty exciting.
Awesome. So we have a couple of our Pantheon Plus team that are in there, Drac and Nefal, but I'm going to skip them for right now. Sorry, guys, because you're part of our team. And we have Bronson, who just jumped into the green room, and he was in chat. Those of you that don't know, he is an artist. He has worked on in many game studios. So I'm really excited to hear his take, and kind of everyone in the chat's like, get in there, get in the green room. So he jumped in. So we're going to head and bring Bronson in. I'm curious to hear his thoughts and to be able to kind of talk about what we saw from his perspective. So let's go ahead and bring Bronson in now. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, guys.
Oh, you're quiet. You are quiet. Are you far from your mic? I'm turning you up.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me
There
now?
you go. That's
Yeah, I
better.
can
Yep,
hear you better. Yep.
All right. How you guys doing?
Doing good,
I
man.
haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing?
I know. Doing good. I'm doing really good.
So,
I missed most of the show so far, so fill me in. What did I miss? Sorry.
what'd you miss? Nice. No, just talking through the different things we saw. Did you see the live stream, right?
I did. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah, to be
I was
honest, you
really,
don't have to worry about us and what you missed with us, but I'm curious to hear what you have to think about, sort of what you saw, especially from your perspective. I think you've probably worked hand in hand with environmental designers quite a bit, right? Because, you're doing certain art and you have to lay it within. Is that fair to say?
Sort of. I'm primarily a character artist, so it's a little bit different pipeline. I've not worked as an environment artist. I've worked, with environment artists, sure. Not specifically with Houdini. If it's being used in game studios, it's relatively new. It seems like it's a pretty film-oriented software because it's pretty intense, but it's a very cool, and I'm glad to see that they're using it. I love the concept of procedural, and the fact that they're able to reorient. They can take assets, reorient them, and suddenly the grass or snow is based on the axis. It's changing, so that's pretty cool. Very cool stuff. But yeah, loving it. Loved the whole stream. Loved the modular the direction they're taking with
like the cave design and stuff like that.
Such a cool thing. I would have wished it for them, and I'm glad they're going that direction because it's going to be a time saver, and it's going to be a major. That's what I walked away from this stream is it's a major time saver. So a lot of things will help move things forward for them.
I think anything that saves. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Therek.
I was just gonna say, what's been your reaction to seeing them move from the Unity, the stock assets into the more signature art style? We talked. You were on the show, I think, when they did the Project Fairtail trailer reveal, and we talked about this a little then. And I remember you were very impressed by it, or maybe I'm misremembering. But now that they've gone from those Unity assets and moved to a more distinctive art style, what's been your reaction to that?
Well, what I've seen as far as their distinctive art style is that Project Fairtail with I don't really, I'm terrible with the names, but that region,
like Oldwood.
Yeah, Oldwood. Thank you.
Yeah.
That looks just amazing to me. I think if the entire world looked that good, then yeah, it's going to be a beautiful world to be in. And seeing what what Jimmy's able to do, or Tourke's able to do with Houdini, and how he's taking some of this very complex shapes and just able to, or simple shapes, and then projecting more complex shapes down onto them, and get these interesting, just quick iterations of things. That's, to me, that's the biggest part. That was pretty cool to see how quick.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong as a non-artistic type person, at least with our visual art. It all comes, no matter how complicated or how advanced your tools are, it still comes down to basic artistic design, right? I mean, and maybe you can probably talk about this better than I can, but there's a certain just sensibility, I think, that you have to have. When you were watching him talk about that, did you get that sort of artist's sensibility from him?
Yeah. Well, he's a good artist. He's a great artist. It seemed like what I was watching when I felt sorry for him a little bit, because it felt like he was given a very short time to throw together this video and trying to explain so much in a short time, and it was just like, oh, poor guy, because he's like really trying to explain a lot in a very short period of time. So yeah, I felt bad for him a little bit there, but yeah, as far as the art goes, and the as him as being an artist, there's no doubt he's great, because after just seeing this stuff that he's done so far in composition is beautiful. And he, granted, some of it's taking from these concepts, but not all of it. Whatever you're not seeing in the concept is outside of that image. He has to kind of continue to create that world and make it look equally as beautiful or
congruent too.
Yeah,
Congruent.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Right. And so, great job. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I like the question that he got about, the translation from Jared's concept art to the technical art. So interesting points.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Loved it.
Awesome, Bronson. So a good stream keeps you positive going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just anxious and eager as you guys are to see what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me
Awesome.
Too, me
well,
too.
Bronson, thanks for taking the peer pressure and jumping in here.
Yeah.
No, I would. I would love to say more, but I'm gonna try and keep it to a minimum.
Awesome.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
See you,
Bronson.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in Nefel. We'll bring Nefel in, then Drac, and then we'll wrap up with some details about what to expect tomorrow on our video launch at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Give you guys a little heads up on that. And if you guys have questions I can answer, I will, but I'm not going to spoil anything. So Nefel, we're bringing you in now. What's up, Nefel?
Hey, guys, hang on.
Oh, got to mute the feed. He's like, muting the feed.
I do that every time.
You pulled me in so quick I didn't have a chance to do it before I got
fast. I'm very fast, very sneaky. What's up, man? What'd you think?
So I'm going to start off by saying it's always awesome to hear Tourke talk about what he does.
Yeah.
In the past, that he's talked. It's like I'm not a graphics guy at all. Like I don't know any of these tools. I couldn't draw my way out of a paper bag. But like
me too, man.
Talk about this stuff and I don't know, just something about the way he explains things. Like my dumb non-artist brain gets it, and I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. So it is so awesome when he gets to come out and talk about what he does, and he brings like so much passion to it. And just so much excitement that you can't help but feel good about it. You're like, wow, this is really cool, even if you have no idea what he's doing. So I thought it was awesome. Just and the thing that stuck with me the most out of that whole stream was when he said that he would, when he was talking about moving Hangor and Avenir's Pass, and he said that it took him 30 minutes to put all that area in between. I was just like, I was floored. I was like, oh my god, 30 minutes, seriously? To do all of that, like that was.
Nefel, did we just agree on something? I love it.
Yeah, we did. We did. And hey, we don't disagree all that often. So.
No, we don't. But
except that you're scared of bears, and I think it's funny.
No, I can agree with you on that. It's funny because the part when you say the speed with which they can create these areas, these zones. It's so funny because as players, like as non-programmers, behind the curtain people, when we play a game, in an MMO especially, our connection is to the area. Our connection is what we're seeing is where our feet are on the ground and we're traveling from point A to point B. So we think, at least me, maybe I'm just projecting, but at least I think, boy, it must take forever to make this area. It must take forever to make this world. Like you look at all the details, you're up close, you're right up, it's within your sight. And you realize it's so different, right? From at least the tools that Tourke is working with here is that, it's like that's not where the time is. That's not where yes, they can. I mean, they can do the little details, but in terms of just building that area that I'm running through right now, that's not the hard work. It's not the. It's not the.
And if you guys were looking at it like I am now, being a Pantheon fan, like. I'm looking at things so much more from a height standpoint now. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Like, I never looked at like, oh, if I climb that, what can I do? What can I see? And it's like changing me as a gamer with how I'm looking at the world and the environment. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, someone earlier mentioned it. Like they kept forgetting that that you could climb stuff, and they're reminded every time we see the devs talk about like, oh yeah, I can climb that. And it's so true. Like once Pantheon launches, like. After, I don't know, 6 months or a year or whatever, we're not going to be able to play games that don't have climbing in it. Like we're gonna get in these other games and it's gonna be like, wait a minute, I can't climb things? This is terrible. What's wrong?
It's like playing a game when you can't jump You're like, why can't I jump?
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. You know, I've gone back. There are games you can't jump, and I'm like, what do I do with my space bar? You know, it doesn't do anything.
It's just going to feel so broken to go back to like WoW or Final Fantasy or some other game that doesn't have climbable terrain, and it just won't feel right.
Yeah,
feel like half a game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really awesome. Something else that was really cool. So, I think I've mentioned this before, but I was one of the first 100 beta testers in Star Wars Galaxies way back in the day, and back at that time, that team was experimenting with procedural terrain generation. Like, it literally hadn't been done for an MMO before that point. And so all the planets in Star Wars Galaxies were procedurally generated, and they really weren't sure that it was going to work. Like, you know, you can go back, you can find like old posts that they made online where they're like, we're going to try this and see, you know, but it actually worked really, really well. And because of that, they were able to have these really big planets with lots and lots of stuff that they could put on them. Now, they didn't do the greatest job of populating those things, but they had all the land space, right?
Yeah.
So it was cool for me to hear what Jimmy's doing with Houdini, because that, I mean, we've talked before about having space for players to spread out in Pantheon, you know, and not having everybody funneled into the same areas. One, you know, just the power of that tool is that now you can have these really massive zones, and you can have a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have to worry about potentially everybody fighting over the same 3 or 4 areas, because instead of 3 or 4, now you have like 10 or 12. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's amazing how much that can help expand the scope of the world. And minus, you did get it right when you said that people who played Vanguard really valued the size of that world, and that's absolutely true. We did. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just the ability for players to spread out and have different adventures through completely different areas, and then come back together and share their stories with each other, like, that's really powerful. Yeah. And for me, as an explorer type person, like, that's what makes me want to go out there and explore, is the idea that I could see something that somebody else might not have seen, and I can come back and I can talk
going
about
off the beaten path. Yeah.
Yeah. Check out this cool place I found. Or man, let me tell you this story about you and my buddy and I were exploring this canyon, like back in the mountains, and, you know, we found like this boss monster or whatever. You know, you can't do those in most games because they're so small and cramped and so streamlined. But Pantheon's a game where you'll be able to do that.
It's interesting what you brought up. It made me think of, you know, talking about Star Wars Galaxies and what they did, and as great as it is that it takes, you know, less effort than it really we would think it would to create these big areas. I wonder if it also could be partly sort of a little bit too much of a temptation to just go crazy and build like a world that's way too big, you know. And what you're saying about Star Wars Galaxies sort of makes me think about that. Like, and I didn't play that game, but I did play Vanguard, and I know and somebody in chat, EQN in chat, you know, mentioned the same thing, saying Vanguard was great, but I did love the big vastness of the world, but when there wasn't enough people to enjoy it, it almost became a bit of an albatross around their neck, and became a detriment to the game in a little bit of a way, because people weren't there to support that big space. So if you've got these easy tools, I think it might be, you know, one of the temptations might be to create a world that's too big, and you always want to sort of balance that, I think. Yeah,
it's very true. And you know, that gets into the balance there is between how many players can you support on a server, with you know, and how much content can you create to fill all of that land space that you have, because, you know, it doesn't do you any good to have a lot of land space if it's all just empty, right? You got to have other stuff. You got to have things there for players to discover and do, and if you don't, then it's just wasted. So that is the challenge, and I think that's the, you know, now that we know what the team is doing for world building, I think that's the next question that I would really have for them in terms of tools, is like, how are you guys making it easier to generate content and get it into the game, so that you can populate all these amazing places that Jimmy's building? We'll have to see, you know, what
if I'm not mistaken, they've talked a little bit about that, but yeah, we haven't really seen it, but it seems to be almost as easy to just, you know, do that. So I'm excited. That'd be great to see on a stream for sure. So
yeah.
All right, Neff. Thanks, buddy. Someone
I'm gonna
threw
do y'all a
Quick
favor and
Gathering.
not talk about
Yeah.
harvesting, even though you tempted me.
Somebody just in chat said, think about harvesting with climbing. I'm like, did you really just say that while Neff was on the air?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I'll just say that I do fully expect for us to see harvesting and crafting start to come in, possibly in the current PA, but definitely by alpha. We're going to start to see some of that, and it's going to be really cool, I think, when it does. There's a lot of people out there in the community who think, oh, they can't do it. They don't have the money. They don't have the time. And I'm like, it's not that hard. I think people are going to be surprised by what the team is able to do. So
Yeah, plus you have to make me my daggers. So
that's
Thanks,
right.
Neff.
If there's not crafting, I can't make you daggers.
yeah, so there has to be.
All right.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
one, guys.
Yeah, CNFL.
All right, so we're going to go to our last guest of the night, and then Therek will break down a couple questions. If you guys have any questions about tomorrow's video, ask. I don't know if I can answer them. I might not be able to answer any, but I'll give you guys a heads up on what that's going to look like and what to expect on that. So I'm excited for that. But Drac, we're going to bring you in if you want to unmute your mic and your headphones. And when I see that, we will drag you down into the live room. Actually, Drac could just jump down in here. Why do we drag him? All right, here we go. What's up, Drac? How are you?
I am doing fantastic. How about you?
Good, man. What'd you think of that?
Well, I am not a huge art nerd, and so I would say that this isn't my. I like the class streams, like the details, like tell me what armor's who's gonna wear what armor, that type of stuff. Like I'm all into that stuff. Art is kind of for me, but there was a couple of things that I did write down. One from your conversation earlier about saying how a smaller sub. I wanted to mention that like the number of subs is also an important number for VR, because when they go and they're negotiating deals with people, the number of people that they could potentially have as subscribers, the bigger that number is, the huger that the more leverage that they have when they go to a potential subscriber or a potential backer and say, hey, look, man, like we may not have $5 million backer, but look at all these people that we have that are interested in playing our game that have financially donated. Like that's a big
whether
step.
it's $5, $20, $50. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, I agree.
And the other small thing that I wanted to just mention was that they mentioned Sony, and like everybody like had this laugh. And I was just like, wait a minute, did they was that like foreshadowing? Are they dropping beans?
No. It was awkward. Like I picked up on it too, but I thought the more I thought about it, I'm like, it's just a weird sort of bring up, I guess. I don't think there's anything to it, but yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I did note it too. But
it was just a weird moment, and I was like, why is it so awkward? And then I was like, what the heck is going on? And then so yeah, I was just like filed that away in the Drac file system for.
So now I'm gonna have to go back and watch that part again and watch Joppa's face, because doesn't he say, aren't those all Sony games?
No, it was Ben.
Ben. Oh, even more. I just want to go back and watch each person's face when they say that.
Dude, and I was watching Ben, and he like looked down when he did it. Like I can't look at the camera because I'm gonna totally give it all away.
Yeah. Well, hey man, who knows? Who knows what's going on?
But, I have absolutely zero inside information. This is just me making stuff up.
Yeah. Going back to what you said though before, I like what you said about the subs and stuff like that. And right at the top of the stream, Ben, they did talk about how this is it's an important that they have an evaluation build to show to potential partners and investors, right? And so they get something like this, they get the PA experience that they're doing right now is a good example of a condensed, what I think they described as a condensed Pantheon experience. So you're right, though. You want to go in with all that. You want to go in with the people who are passionate and following this game, all the subscribers you have, all the people who have donated, all the pledges, all that kind of stuff. It's all good to have.
Yeah, it's gonna have to have a backer at some point. Anybody that didn't think that it was gonna have to have
it has to.
It's just crazy. This MMOs take millions and millions of dollars to make.
Yeah, and also just putting it out there. The good
ones, anyway.
The publishing side of the game and getting it out there, and like that's not, indie studios don't typically do all the like publishing work. There's usually companies that's what they do. I agree with you. I think that there's never been a doubt in my mind that that some publisher is going to come on board in some aspect, some way. But I think the difference is that, people need to not fear that because of, I hate Activision, or look what they did to Blizzard, or, Daybreak, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're picking the couple negative. Like, there's a lot of good publishers out there, and a lot of publishers you don't even know the name of who were part of great games coming out. So,
and they're not desperate. That's the key thing in this whole deal, right? They're not desperate for a publisher. They're continuing to move forward. Without a publisher, they can survive without a publisher.
They're gonna find the right one.
They get to pick and choose the one they want. That's where you want to be, right? That's the positive of this whole thing. Not that they're like, oh no, like we got to release in 6 months unless we get a publisher. Like, that's the place you don't want to be.
Yeah. Good stuff. Now we got people are requesting for the rewind that we go over the frame by frame facial expressions of everybody during the Sony discussions.
Well, we could do that. Unfortunately, it's an audio show, so I don't know how that will work out. But maybe we'll try and not bore people with a frame by frame analysis of their expressions.
We'll look at it. So, yeah. Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for letting me in. You're welcome on the Sony drop.
Yeah.
All right, Jack,
awesome,
take it easy. Man.
Well done, man. Well done.
All right, guys. So we're going to be wrapping up there. Just under an hour and a half. Great show time. Great job there. But we're going to talk first about what's coming tomorrow. So for those, I'd imagine a lot of people that are here watching Pantheon Plus You are familiar with our content. But in case you're not, or you catch this on demand, Friday, which will be the 30th, at noon Eastern on YouTube, we will be putting out a video that we are very excited to put out. We're very fortunate to put out, and we've done so with extensive work with the team at VR to allow us to show off some pre-alpha 5 footage. Again, it's very important to note that it's testing, right? This is footage you're not usually going to see for a few reasons. One, because you usually don't see pre-alpha footage, and number two, because it's under NDA. So we really have to thank Visionary Realms for that. And again, when you guys watch it, know that please, it's a testing phase stuff, but here's what I'm going to tell you without spoiling anything. You're going to see two things. It's about a 42-minute video, roughly. The first 10 minutes are going to be going through the rogue abilities that I was able to experience, talking about them a little bit. And there's going to be like footage in the background of rogue combat as we're kind of talking through these spells. And then when that finalizes and we get to I'm going to give my review of where the rogue is at, subject to change. Obviously, it's very early, but very, very excited about the state of rogue. Once that's finalized, we're going into a 4K version of Pre-A5 organic gameplay. And here's what I mean by that. You're going to hear the Discord communication from our party. You're going to watch us adventure. You're going to watch us discover. Nobody's holding our hands. Nobody's telling us where to go. There are some discoveries for sure. There's some funny moments. There's tactical planning. You guys are going to see how we attack some difficult situations. We get overwhelmed at times. There's like 2 or 3 cuts. We have a wipe that I cut, and then a couple other just small cuts to fit the stuff in. That's all it is. Nothing. I want to be very clear about this because I want to give Visionary Realms a lot of credit. That they did not make us edit anything from this video. I just, we had 6 hours of video to put together into a 40-minute package, and that was my decision. They didn't tell us how long, nothing. We sat down and we tried to put the best, 30, 35-minute piece together that showed a bunch of people who met in pre-alpha or people in Pantheon Plus having a damn good time and laughing and making jokes and all the follies that come with it, right, Therek? You've reviewed the video, helped me sort of see if this is what we want to release. Like, without spoiling anything, like, what would you tell people?
Well, I would just tell people that if you listened to the story that you told, Minus, on the rewind of your adventure there, and you got the feels from that, I think you'll probably get the same feels from this. We're all here because we have fond memories of old socially oriented MMOs. And that's what you're going to see. You're going to see people experiencing new content and things that we've heard about, but never seen or experienced.
There is a very epic moment. Well, there's a few epic moments, but there is a extraordinarily words epic moment of discovery. And again, keep in mind, none of this is pre-planned. The expressions on Discord, the excitement and it's all real. And I really hope you guys feel that excitement. So
yeah. I know. I mean, that's what it's about, the feels, right? It's about the feels. And like I was going to say, it's like, it's all those MMO things we like about venturing, exploring, and seeing something cool, right, for the first time, against the backdrop of friends having fun, being, enjoying the banter. I joked with my wife the other night, I was telling her about the video, and she's like, "Oh, that seems like a kind of a big deal. You guys get to show this." And I said, "Yeah, it is a big deal." I said, and I think my witty banter was on point, so I'll be okay. Because that's what we do. That's why we're playing MMOs. We don't do these. If we wanted to play single player games, we could do that. Make a party and just a bunch of AI characters run around. But that's not what this. Anyway, rambling because I'm excited about it. But,
yeah,
I hope you guys enjoy it as much too as I did experiencing it.
Yeah, it's just a really fun time. And the last piece I'll say, and then I'll let everybody leave our channel here and go relax. Here's the end of the day thing. As content creators, I say this, I mean it, hand to God, on my daughter's life. We are supportive of one another. Nathan, Basgrim, myself, everybody in this community is extraordinarily supportive. And we're fortunate to be able to do this. And I hope that we're going to see, videos from Baz eventually and Nathan, and I just, again, want to thank VR for giving us this chance, especially with Rogue, because, I'm such a big fan of it, obviously. Now, the thing I want to say is the fact that we have viewers show up to Pantheon Plus U. We have people come and show up to our premieres of the Rewind and download our podcasts across different things. Comment on our videos, bicker with us, agree with us, whatever it is. Because you as a community support us, we're able to do this. Make no mistake. If you guys didn't support us, you guys, you girls, everybody in the community of the Pantheon Plus Discord or in our guild or just people we talk to across all the social media that we're constantly on, we would not be given the chance to do this because we wouldn't be able to build the credibility that you guys have given us. And that's 100% true. We wouldn't have ammo to go to VR with and say, please let us do this. I'm sure I was the most annoying person in the world the last month whenever they announced Rogue. It wouldn't have happened without every little bit that you guys give. A thumbs up, a like, a dislike, a hey, you got to do this better. Hey, Minus, you missaid this. Every bit of that made it so 47 episodes later at Pantheon Plus U. Almost 30 episodes of the Rewind. Mm-hmm. It's because of you guys. So thank you. Thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. And we hope, I'm so nervous for tomorrow. I hope that you guys enjoy this because we know how important it is for Pantheon. We know how important it is for the community. Let us know. Share the video if you like it. Tell your friends. I'll be in the chat tomorrow with you guys. So let me know there. 12 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, noon. Hope you guys enjoy. Therek, thanks again for another great show, man.
Awesome. Always a pleasure. Love it.
Thank you to everyone in the community. You guys are awesome. And hopefully I see a bunch of you guys tomorrow live on YouTube. Remember, it is on YouTube, not on Twitch. And we'll see you there for the premiere. Thanks, everybody. And thank you for your support. Please.
Night, everybody.
Please. Yep. And the poll. Yeah, we amazing and good. So they kind of tied. Great job. So, all right, guys, take it easy. Thanks, everyone.